Check, check, 1, 2. Check, 1, 2. There we go. That's much better. Okay. I should probably look, see. Hi, Matthew. So what we're checking today is just audio quality, visual quality. I had recently found out that you could use a Google Pixel as a webcam device. And so that's what I'm primarily testing today, is just that feature and how that works. And when we do our Kickstarter and that goes live, we'll be doing a more proper stream where we'll be building a controller from scratch. But for now, it's a little more just free. So we're going to test a couple things. Here is the newest version of the prototype. This is a painted shell. And this does have the dual stage triggers. Hi, Connor. The other thing I'm going to see, if we can do it, is get Dolphin up. Show a little bit of that as well. This is all extremely disorganized right now, but that's okay. Hi, Jackson. And do let me know if this audio gets too loud. We're going to try this. This is going to be a little janky. Yeah, you can ask questions. So I'll go through those questions in just a moment. Just going to be testing a couple things here. We'll do something like that. This is very basic, but it works. Okay, so let's go through the early questions. When did I get so handsome? You have to ask my mom. With some GC controllers, when you full press the triggers, you can feel the spring in your hands. This is also present in the GCU. So the springs that we're including by default, this is an OEM, but we do have light springs that will be included by default. And I believe these springs are the light springs. So it's a little bit lighter of a press compared to a complete original. We'll be shipping worldwide. I believe we did like a whitelist of allowed countries to ship to on the Kickstarter, and it's USA, Canada, UK, any of those EU countries should be fine, and Japan. If there's somewhere that we missed and someone has a request, we'll have to evaluate the shipping cost and just see. But here, we can demo this. So this has a specific mode for Dolphin. And you just hold the button while you plug it in. So I hold Y. And that works on Slippy and whatnot as well. So you just plug that in. And I will have to restart Dolphin because it's dumb like that. Let's see if I can actually find it. Okay. And I can just show a little bit. You do get all the analog triggers and whatnot. Shipping time is going to depend. We're trying to have everything delivered by the end of February next year, which gives us a pretty wide window. But it's, I mean, with anything manufacturing, it's, you know, multiple months out. And then the other thing is that there is Chinese New Year, and they go on vacation for several weeks. So we're trying to plan around all of that and make sure that it's okay. Hi, Ro. It's nice to see you. I really forgot about how long these cutscenes are. So I guess it's good that I get this out of the way now, and I guess I could download a save file too, but that's fine. So a fast forward. No. Brilliant. This is the first game I ever played on GameCube. And it's a little hard to show, but there is rumble in this. Here's one of the prototype printed shells. This is the more classic color, but I can kind of show you in case you haven't seen it. I'm just using this little broken rumble, but back shell, front shell. There's a nice little slot right here, and these little HD rumble motors fit in perfectly. And so those plug into the front board. And so you get the dual HD rumble. And it is compatible with all of these legacy systems as well. End of February is when you'd be able to expect to have something received. Again, that's our goal. If you are playing 3D All-Stars on the Switch, you can use this same mode, and I believe that game does support GameCube controllers through an adapter, so you'd get the analog trigger function that way, assuming that you are not going through an adapter, you just plug it in directly. If you hold Y while you're connecting this controller, it's seen as a GameCube adapter. So that's how you're able to get the analog trigger function on supported games on the Nintendo Switch. Yes, N64 Rumble Pack is supported. So it doesn't have any memory card saving functionality, but if you use this with a game like Smash Bros. Or something else, it will do Rumble, no problem. Yes, the controller kits come with the Rumble motors. There will be a full list of everything that's included with the kit. It's not just the shell and the PCB, it's literally every single part that you would need to put it together. So this is what the bare shell looks like. So many times as a kid, I would hit yes on this for some reason. And then you have to rewatch the whole thing. So here you can demonstrate the dual stage triggers. So you can do your light press, or you can do your heavy press. And I'm not used to that inverted control at all. There will definitely be guides for everything when we have them. What am I doing? There actually is a video right now on the Handheld Legend YouTube channel which shows the full assembly. It's not a tutorial, but you can kind of get an idea of what that looks like. I'd say it's just as reliable as fobs. There's some other considerations. So if you get a fob from somebody that's a pretty skilled builder, you're not going to have any issues at all. Let me show you one of the boards. Something just disconnected on my computer. That might have been my controller because my front USB ports are awful. But this is a single solid unit. So it's not anything that's glued on. So I guess that's part of the benefit of something like this. If it's a pre-assembled unit, you're not having to do any soldering, and we'd be doing a lot of the testing before we ship anything out. My USB hub definitely just kicked the bucket. That's cool. That's okay. I can take some time to show you the configuration settings, and we can move on to another game. I'm going to save that. I'm going to close out of Dolphin for now. I'm going to open up the configuration software. I can show you a little bit of that. These controllers are pretty consistent. If you've heard of the Pro GCC, this is running the same firmware, and it's largely the same design underneath the hood, so to speak. Cool. So we'll go ahead and open this up as well so you can see so this is the configuration software. A big thing about the fobs and what makes them so accurate is the calibration process. So this does have a calibration process to it as well. Let me enlarge this just a little bit. That's looking good. So there is the standard analog calibration where you can set up your typical radius. You can set up your center point. You can set up your dead zones. You can set up the edge dead zone, which is it's a little more specific, but that basically determines how quickly the stick will reach the maximum value on the outside. So you could probably crank that up a little bit as well. You can invert axes, so they're in sunshine. Like if I wanted to have an inverted axis for the left and right, I could do that. But the main attraction here is the analog calibration. So right now, if I hold this, I might have already calibrated this, maybe not, but like this value is a little bit off. It should just be 180 degrees. If I hold it in that direction on the gate and I hit update, it'll set that angle so that it gets scaled correctly to the proper angle. You can just go around the gate and do that whole thing. You also don't have to click that button. You can just hit spacebar. It'll do the same thing. So you can go around and do all of these angles. And if you swap out that gate plate, there's going to be little tolerance differences between different gate plates, so that lets you adjust to your specific gate plate. Will there be support for changing the size of the ESS? What is ESS? So for N64 specifically, the value output is scaled so that it's outputting what you would typically get from a Nintendo 64 controller. This is on real hardware, by the way, if you're using it on real hardware. So that value, I believe, is like 65 in both directions. So, and then in GameCube mode, it's scaled differently as well. It's scaled to a range of 100 to minus 100. So let me make sure this is saved. And I'm going to unplug it. And I'm going to show you Smash Scope really quick to show you kind of how the GameCube mode gets scaled down. Let me hide that for now. I'll go to Dolphin. There we go. So this gets scaled to that 100 range. So it accurately matches what you would get from a real controller. I think I have an issue with my analog on the left side, but it's, prototype stuff. But you got the analog on the right side. Oh, you know what I did? I had set it up so that this Z button does a light trigger press, and then this only does the full trigger press. So if you had like this plugged, you could have those split up. And you can set that up however you'd like. You could split up. This is Z right now, but you can have that configured in a lot of different ways. And this is set up to scale to the correct values of a real GameCube controller, so it feels just like a brand new controller. ESS is a range of values where Link is turning around instead of walking. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure about that stuff. I am not involved with any of this speedrunning community stuff. I really do care about accuracy with a controller like this. You have quite a bit of precision here about how big you want your dead zones to be, and I'm sure that this controller would work really well for those kinds of people. So the question of polling rate, it really depends on what you're doing. And then polling rate is also not necessarily the end all be all in terms of. I'm just feeling my phone to see if it's getting hot or not. But oh, there goes my hub. The polling rate is really going to depend on what you're doing. Yeah, oops, I shouldn't have used this hub. I should get something else. Powered hub. That's what I should do. Why do front USB ports suck so bad? So if you're plugged in the PC and you're in X input mode, you get 1000 hertz, which is 1 millisecond polling rate. If you're plugged into the Nintendo Switch, the situation changes quite dramatically, where it's 8 milliseconds, but sometimes it's 9 milliseconds, and that's intentional because the frame rate of the Nintendo Switch is 60 frames per second, which ends up being something like 16.6667 milliseconds. So if you were just inputting at 8 milliseconds, what you have is an offset, so there's a chance that your input is going to roll over to the next frame. So what we do is we synchronize the polling rate to the Switch's frame rate, at least from a timing perspective, so that you have a better chance that your input spacings are going to be more consistent. No, the stick box does not feel the same as a T3. It feels closer to what you would have on a Pro controller. In fact, these stick caps are just Pro controller stick caps. We do have models for, let me move this light so we can get a little better lighting. Try to illuminate that better. These feel closer to Pro Controller stick caps. I personally prefer it because there's less like lock-in to these axes, where it's a little bit easier to kind of get those in-between tilts without it trying to snap into one of those directions like the T3s kind of tend to do. You might prefer that, you might not. And there's always the fob if that's something that you have a really strong preference for. But for games like Ultimate, these are awesome, in my opinion. I could show you the gate changing process. It's very simple. It's just 3 little screws. And this is a resin piece. There is a bit of the design that we've changed. That just comes off, and you can see kind of what that looks like under the hood. These are Hall Effect sticks. Well, they're TMR, but it's basically the same thing. So these won't drift. You will get loosening of the stick box over time, just because it's a mechanical part. But I've been using my Pro GCC for years now. Couple years, and over all the ones that I've used, I put a lot of hours in testing and whatnot. No, put that stick cap back on. It's a little cursed, but I'll go with it. We have not announced a Kickstarter launch time yet. We are still working on that detail, and I will post about it when we have that finalized. If I'm going to make an educated guess, it's probably going to be sometime in the morning. That's actually kind of cool. Not with the blue, but the silver is kind of cool. You know what I need to do now that I changed that gate plate is recalibrate or check those angles. It's a good demonstration. So now that 90 degrees off, just update it. And this is really designed to kind of be that friendly for use. So if you change out your gate plate, you can kind of get everything set up like it's supposed to be. Yeah, you don't have to use the Octagon calibration. There is a normal calibration process. I'll show you after this, and we'll see how embarrassing this is. Okay. Why'd you do that? So we are working on stick caps. That'll be like it'll be more closer to the original design, and I can show you what those look like in a minute. But I should probably show the controller. That's a kind of the point. Good thing this fox is going easy on me right now, because otherwise I'd just be embarrassed. Why is he doing that? Why is he doing that? Why is he doing that? Is he... Huh? Why is he doing that? Stupid. He's not serious. Oh, we're just dancing now. Huh? I can't believe this is happening right now. All right. This guy's strategy is interesting. How long until this guy breaks character? Okay. I mean, people gotta have their fun somehow, I guess. Okay. We could do stupid games too. You're not even gonna up air me? Well. And I'm playing with a big camera mount in my face. I don't get it. What is this? Why? Why? I don't know. Okay. Where was I? What was I doing? I'm frazzled. Round calibration. So, in the configuration app, I'm gonna unplug, just plug it back in. There's just a normal calibration method. So you just hit start and you just go around in the full circle and hit stop. And it uses the coordinate system, just the X and Y coordinates, to determine what's north and south. Yeah, definitely the controller that won that match. 100%. Yeah, there is an option for changing stick caps. I think I've posted some pictures about it. Let's see. I'm sure I've got some screenshots here somewhere. But if you just scroll down on my Twitter a little bit, you can see some of those screenshots. I'm not going to pull it up right now. That's fine. But we're going to be designing, having molded some new stick caps which would fit the GCU. And the other benefit is that they would work on a Pro controller. So if you're customizing a Pro controller and you want to have that form factor with the stick caps, like I've got my Octagon gate here. So you'd be able to, this cat hair, you'd be able to have the kind of GameCube feel on the OG Pro controller as well. With the rings instead of the C. What I would like to do is include 2 of these left caps with every set so that you can kind of choose if you want to have the nub style or the full style. I prefer the full style like this, personally, especially for the games I play with this. Here, I can test this. I should probably put Dolphin up so I can see it. I can get embarrassed. Look at him go. He's a true fox. Uh-oh. My hub. My hub. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to trade my webcam cable for my USB cable. Let's see if that works. One moment. This is why we do a test stream. Here we go. I do need to get something actually connected. Let me restart. Here, I'm going to use my other... This is the GC Ultimate that has the tactile switches. And I do prefer playing with this. Hang on. I screwed it up. Too good. And now, now it doesn't even want to see Slippy. What did I do? Close out. Relaunch. There we go. Cold doorknob. Now this is epic. Man. Oh, okay. Now everything's really delayed with the stream. That's okay. Here, I'm going to move Dolphin over. Move my OBS to the other side. This guy's respectful. I enjoy that. Oops. Ooh. Oof. Yeah, I love Game & Watch. He's just a fun guy. Yeah, this is net play. Gate plate files are available currently on GitHub. I do not have plans to make notched stuff. That's beyond my expertise, if I'm being honest. But there are community There's a community Firefox notch already made. How do I fix my front USB ports being bad? That's what I need to know. I tried to not match to not get a Luigi, but it's okay. Kickstarter goes live September 16th. Right before I go to Japan. It's my exit scam. I'm not coming back either. I'm staying in Japan. I am coming back. It's just a joke. No plans on black right now, but, you know, never say never. Prices on the, if you go to the Kickstarter preview page, there's pricings available right now. $100 early bird. $115 is the next tier of early bird. And then after that, it's $125. Oops. Yes, you can print your own gate plates if you'd like. Resin is recommended. I have not seen anybody try an FDM print for the gate plate. I'm not sure I would recommend it. Wow. If you are savvy with Fusion 360 as well, there are template files with parametric settings to make your own gate plate. So you could kind of fine tune how you want your notches if you're into that kind of thing. Ooh, I'm bad. It's okay, they don't pay me to play Super Smash Brothers. They pay me to make the controller. All right, ready? 9. 9. Oh. Whoops. Not today. Whoo. You could ask people what they think about the Pro GCC sticks. They're similar to that. I've gotten good feedback from a lot of the vendors who do stock Pro GCCs and build them. I've had a couple sticks from players where they said it got loose. It happens. So, you know, sometimes you will need to replace the stick boxes, but it's like you can use most parts on the market are fine to drop in. Okay. Oh, the other thing, I did a thing. I closed out of OBS thinking it was Slippy, but I learned that you can just resume stream. So, we're back. Didn't mean to scare you. Yeah, that was dumb. So, think we're back for real now. So what I wanted to show is the D-pad. I've heard a lot of people say they really don't like this. They're gonna be like, man, I like the design until I saw that. And I would just say hold out because it's a lot better than it would seem at a first glance. It feels very nice. And I wouldn't be sticking to my guns so much if I didn't believe in it. Let me pull up a SNES. Let me plug this in X input mode. Okay. Let me change this to here. Window has to be active. No? Input. It's working. What gives? Why no work? There we go. Okay. I've been playing Mario on this D-pad. This is kind of a weird spot to do it, but I probably need to change my grip on this too, because I've been using this, where this is your sprint, and the B is your jump, and you can see here this is Y and B. Let me switch that around real quick. So my Y is going to be my B, and my A is going to be my B. And then this will be my X. This will be... Let me think about this. Hang on. I'm confusing myself. A is going to be this. Hang on. I haven't thought about this logically. This is B. This is A. This is Y. This is X. Okay. Let's try that. It's okay. Let me move my SNES window so I can actually see it. I'm going to get the perfect run. And I'm not a speedrunner by any means. But, you know, if it's good enough for Mario 3... You know what? I think I do have Tetris. Let's see. I mean, I like it for the platforming. It's small, but it holds up. Also, that's what she said. Straight to business. But I do think if it's good enough for Mario 3, it should be good enough for most games. And the thing is, it's like you can really rock left and right without pressing that up and down. Because you get a very solid press. It's a little more... I think it's a little bit more precise because you're not having to worry about the kind of unspecified rocking that you would get with like a usual D-pad. Oh yeah, you'll be able to taunt, no problem. I've angered the sun. Ooh. I panicked. Oh, yeah. Duh. This guy's pissed. Shit. Let's see if I have Tetris. I don't recall. Okay. Yeah. I do. There's no hard drop. Or is there? No, there's not. That's fine. You know that the only Tetris game I've really played a ton of is Tetris DS. Which way am I going? I've clearly done this. And also, like, I'm the wrong guy to tell you that this is going to be the Tetris controller or something. I'm happy to let smarter people than me judge this on its Tetris qualities in the future. So if you're cringing at this, that's the appropriate reaction. Also, because of my button layout, The rotation is backwards. You know. This is normal. Monkey brain is activating, remembering Tetris things. Great RNG. I don't have any of my retro consoles hooked up. That was my mistake. I don't have any of my retro stuff hooked up, but I would... Maybe I can get that set up when I do a proper stream, and then I can show off some of those games as well. I guess at this point in the stream I can show some of the things that I'm working on that aren't done yet, that are stretch goal things for the Kickstarter. So, the first thing is the analog sticks. So I will create a screen share. I'm going to pull up my Fusion 360. Which will be visible in just a moment. We will fit this to the screen. Okay. So here's our Fusion window. Or I can show you the render. That'd probably be the easiest thing. Or the little assembly. So this is what it looks like from the sort of director's chair. I disconnect my webcam for now. You know, even though my phone was plugged in that whole time being used as a webcam, it was still draining the battery. So that does limit me just a bit on what I can do. So here is the controller. Let me switch to orthographic. And these are the analog stick caps that we have been working on. And here's kind of the test case scenario. It gets very close at that stick gate. Put in that octagon gate plate. So that's what that's going to look like. And this is a 2-piece rubber cap. So these are injection molding ready files. So this is what the cap itself looks like. And then that rubber piece gets overmolded on top. And this is the symphonic green colorway. Looks something a little like that. If there's any other questions, get them in now, because in about 5 minutes I'm going to go ahead and end this. I'm happy with the test. Got to learn some things. I need to figure out the power or data situation with my front USB ports, because that's a problem. It seemed to work okay once I switched it so my webcam was on the front port and the controller was on the back. I've also had the same issues in the past with Slippy, where when I go to use a GameCube adapter on my front ports, it doesn't do 1000 hertz. It freaks out. And so I have to use my rear USB ports for that, which is a common thing. The launch color is going to be this emerald blue. The next color on our stretch goals is going to be this red, which is my personal favorite. I'm being selfish there. I don't remember the order of colors after that, but I'm pretty sure it's spice orange. And then the next color that would unlock is the classic indigo, followed by platinum. It's one of these two. It's probably this one. And the last color used to be gold, but it was kind of ugly in person. So we decided to change the final stretch goal to symphonic green, since that's another fan favorite. But I felt like that's a good compromise. I can be a little bit selfish and get a color that I want. I could give people what they had wanted. A lot of people have wanted this emerald blue color. And then kind of those other classic colors as well. People like to match their consoles and whatnot. I think we will go with these light gray colored buttons for the ABXY, which would be these bald guys. These would be a slightly translucent color, kind of be like a diffusion color. And the reason for that is the underglow, the RGB underglow. So you can kind of pick the color and that would illuminate the whole piece in one go. At least that's the idea. Then there's the split D-pad, which would match the material of these as well. And then these bases would be transparent to allow those LEDs to come through. So that's what I'm thinking for now. Then the light gray for the triggers as well. And that just looks good with every color shell. That just makes our life easier if we can have a button set that just goes with each controller. Yes. Okay, let me close out of this. I'm not going to save it. Let me open up the configuration app again. That'll be the last thing I do. And then we'll call it. It's in X input mode. So let me unplug it. Just plug it back in. Let me open up the beta version of the website because this is not a very good representation of what will be on the release. But I have been cooking up some stuff. So let me pull that up for you and you can see what that looks like. One moment. Okay. You'll like this. I have to quit out of the other one. Okay. So here it is. This is the color configuration. So you can choose the color, the right stick. You can also choose the colors of each of these buttons individually. And that's kind of what the editor looks like. So if you wanted to go like the classic color, I guess it's kind of this greenish blue. Yeah, more blue, more gray. You get that red, which is a light red. So that controls the LED colors directly. Yeah, you could make it look like the classic colors if you wanted to, or whatever you want. You could match you can match it however you want. And the LEDs are kind of important because they're also used for other things like what mode you're in. It'll flash when the controller turns on. I guess the only other thing in here that is of note that's specific to this controller. Let me save that. I had worked a little bit on some reactive LEDs, but there's nothing ready right now. So if I do have something to announce on that later, I'll be sure to tell people, but nothing planned right now. The only other thing to note is that if you do have the analog triggers, this is a place where you can calibrate those and test them. And that's unique to this sort of GameCube controller. Yep. There is stuff about sub-notch adjustment. I'll go into that just a little bit because it's kind of hard to just write down a guide. I'll probably need to make a video on it later and get my hands on like some actual notch plates. So I guess the idea is like, let's say you know what let's say you have a special notch right here, and you know that's supposed to be 125 degrees. So what you can do is you can hit get on the sub notch adjustment, and this tells you the current offset, which is basically the dividing line between these two cardinals here. So right now it's set to 0 because it's perfectly centered. By default, every sub notch is going to be perfectly centered. But let's say that I had a notch here and it's supposed to be 125 degrees. Then what you could do is you could offset this and hit update. And if you're holding your stick in the notch, this is where you can kind of update that and see the results in real time. Oh, you know what? I was in the wrong cardinal. So what I should have done is not hold it there, but hold it a little bit up. So let me reset this one back to 0. So we'll get this. So let's say this is supposed to be 125. I forget which direction it's supposed to be. And I also forget if I had broken something on this. I may have. So please forgive me if there's something here that's wrong. Yeah, there's something there that's not quite right because it's going into the wrong zone. That's okay. I'm going to go ahead and get the correct cardinal. But let's say that's supposed to be 125. There we go. Now it's updating. So you can really kind of fine tune this until it's exactly where you want it to be. And I know that this is going to be kind of specific to whatever notches you have and depends on what angle you have. This is way beyond me, and I've added this specifically for more advanced users to be able to adjust their gate plates exactly how they want them. So that if you go back to that notch, if you had a notch carved out there, you'd be able to get that same precise angle every time, and it'd be scaled properly. The other thing that you can do is you can change, you can kind of offset the angles. So you can see the calibrated angle compared to what it is in reality. So if you want to make manual adjustments to this, like let's say I wanted to offset this to be 47 degrees or something like that, I would go the other way. But you could adjust the calibration with a fine-tooth comb if you really want to. So you can get the exact cardinal angles that you want. I hope that makes sense. It's kind of hard to explain. A lot of this stuff I've mapped out in my head and it makes sense in my head, but trying to explain it is difficult for me. But that's definitely something that you can do. Or if you just do this manual or this automatic option, it'll set it to that perfect 45. So I hope that makes sense. I may be overhauling some of this sometime in the future, but for now, it works well to get the Octagon set up. And I've had no problem with it in game. But sometime in the future, I do want to overhaul this system to make it a little more flexible and allow things like, well, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to promise anything that I'm not sure of until I play with it. So that's our test stream. I think that's a good place to stop it. I will post the Kickstarter link in the chat so people can see it. Let me go ahead and I should have probably pinned that. I'll do that now. And if you guys have any other further questions, I will be doing a stream probably launch day, and we'll be going over Kickstarter stuff then. We can go over all the tiers and kind of what special bonuses will be included with each tier. That information is on the Kickstarter, but thanks for helping me to test this, and you guys have a fantastic rest of your Monday.